Hey everybody, welcome to this module, which is called How to Use Instagram Hashtags for Maximum Exposure. And this is a new training for 2024. And in this training today, I actually make recommendations that are completely different from recommendations I was making even 6 months ago. And it's completely based. I'm going to be going through a very scientific process here, and I'm not going to try to bamboozle you or overwhelm you with a ton of technical stuff. I just really want to get to the most important things that you can start implementing right away. So if you're somebody that has an attention span, then this is the right place for you, and you're going to get a lot out of this. What are hashtags? I think a lot of people that gravitate towards my stuff are relatively new to marketing online. So we'll start with definitions. Hashtags are words and phrases that use the pound sign at the beginning, so they're preceded by the pound sign, and then they're a word or phrase that's used to help make content more discoverable. And judiciously used online, you can collect your content with other pieces of content that are the same by using hashtags, because the hashtag helps link that content together. So you can sometimes use hashtags to expand your content's reach. However, I may provide some counter evidence to that today. And your hashtag strategy is more important than ever right now, especially right now for a lot of reasons that I will show you. So the big problem right now that we are experiencing with hashtags and other things online, all the socials, we're seeing a lot of rapid changes happening on all the social platforms, but on Instagram in particular, shadow banning is a big problem. And shadow banning, there's a lot of reasons that you could be shadow banned. And the reason that everyone is using the word shadow ban is because you're not banned in a way where you can't use the platform. That's what we historically have thought of for being banned. You are shadow banned, meaning you're just not going to get reach. No one's going to see your content. So you can still publish to the platform, you can still log in, but no one's going to see you. You've been cut off. Unlike a typical ban where you can't even log into the system. Like we see that. You might have heard of like Instagram jail or Facebook jail or LinkedIn jail, where you can't even log in and do anything. This is different. You can log in, you can create content, but no one sees it. And if you misuse hashtags, that's what's going to happen to you. Now, this isn't the first time that any platform is doing this. Google has been doing this for decades. When people were misusing search engine optimization 20 years ago, Google would allow you to show up in the search results, but they'd push you back to like page 30. There were some really big companies that this happened to when they were misusing search engine optimization. I think JCPenney was a large retailer, might still be, I have no idea. But JCPenney was trying to trick the system, trying to get better rankings, and Google caught onto it and just pushed them to like page 30 of the search results. So they got no organic search traffic because of that. It's the same thing with Instagram. If you misuse any of these systems, they're just not going to show your content to anyone. And you might be on social media just because you get some sort of like therapy for putting your content online. Well, that's not me, and that's not the people that I work with. We're here to promote our content, to demonstrate authority and expertise so that we can build businesses. And by the way, speaking of that, if you're someone who would love to build your business, who would love 3 things out of your business, you want to make more money, you want to get your clients really great results, you want to have bigger impact, and you want to have fun with a group of people who are doing the same thing, then I would invite you to check out my collaborative mastermind. I'm going to put the link for that nearby. I'll probably annotate the screen with it as well. It's collab.prouty.me. Prouty's my last name, by the way. Collab, because it's a collaborative space where you get to hang out with some really cool people who are like you and who want the same things as you and want to cheer you along as you do it. Another problem with hashtags is the oversaturation of hashtags. People were using 20 or 30 hashtags. There are still people who are recommending using that many hashtags. But what starts to happen is your content starts to get lost. And sometimes it's very difficult to use that many hashtags and keep them relevant to to the content that you're producing. And as I'll talk to you about in a few minutes, we really want to be contextually relevant. We want our hashtags to relate to the content, because misuse of hashtags, one of the characteristics of misuse is when people use hashtags that don't relate to their content to artificially get reach. The platforms don't want that. And there's a reason that these platforms don't want that. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But the platforms have changed. The social media, I shouldn't even put this word in here. Nobody needs to hear about this. Social media constantly evolves. We don't even have to talk about algorithm. Just social media is evolving. The ability for these social platforms to understand what you're saying, understand the context of what you're saying, even understand the tone of what you're saying or writing, and looking at your images and your videos to get an understanding of who you are and what you're doing. Like, heck, even these systems even look at what's in the background of your videos and make a decision about who to show your content to based on that. You can look, there's a Face++ is one of the websites you can check out. Face++ has an emotion recognition engine in it. And these systems are looking at everything, including your emotion, when you're producing content. And that's the subtle hint that hashtags are getting less and less effective over time. So we'll get to that in a second. Here's how we did the analysis. We collected data from a few thousand Instagram accounts, just manually collected that data. And we took that data and we put it into a SQL database. And then we made queries against that database to look at number of hashtags, as well as a bunch of other things, when new content was published. And we were able to look at how quickly things got reach or not. And so then we created hypotheses based on that. And then we used the scientific process to understand those results. Sounds very sciencey. I promise no one wore a white coat or had a stethoscope or anything like that while we were doing this, but we did use the scientific process. Remember, you learned that in 8th grade and you never thought you'd use it again. Well, we do all the time, and we even use some algebra. Here are the shifts that we noticed happening. First, there's a shift in the way platforms like Instagram spread your content. We see less and less of the impact of hashtags and more of the impact of, is your content designed to either entertain or educate, which are the two things that I tend to work with the people in my mastermind about. Generally, it's educate so that we can grow our businesses, but the quality of your content is playing a much bigger role than it used to, even just a year ago. The quality of your content is what's most important. So if you're trying to entertain, you got to be more entertaining. If you are trying to educate, you got to really do a good job at being uniquely educational. These platforms want to share content that is unique, that is educational, that demonstrates expertise, authority, trustworthiness, and that you can make a transformation. And if you're trying to grow a business by promoting your content, then you've really got to come to the table with some highly educational, unique content. There's a lot of evidence that supports human-created content is getting more reach. It's a little early in the artificial intelligence AI game to be able to make some real strong conclusions on that, because that's an area that's changing rapidly. But I'll say it right now, the prediction that I'll make is that in the next 12 months, we're going to see a surge in human-created content versus AI-created content. We're going to see a surge in the reach of human-created content, which is kind of why I make these videos just like this. There's a whole bunch of reasons I do that, but we can get into that another time. So with advancements, the way these systems can understand your content really has to shine. And I think that's where I'm going to recommend to you later on, that's where you spend most of your time. In fact, in my collaborative mastermind, which is called Force Acceleration, that's what we do in there every single week when we meet, is we focus on showing up authentically and with integrity on the social platforms so that you can get more reach just by creating better content. If that sounds cool to you and you'd like those same kind of results, well, we want to work with you. So there is a link. I'll annotate the screen. You can just go to collab.prouty.me. I think there's a waiting list right now, but we're going to open that up real soon, and we're going to let a small wave of new people in to that mastermind. But we kind of handpick these people, so you got to be right for it. But you can go check it out if you feel like you're right for it. We'd love to work with you and see you in there. So just head to collab.prouty.me and you can get on the waiting list right now. So there's also a shift in the way successful business owners are using their content. And I know you're saying, well, I'm here to learn about hashtags. Well, you got to understand the foundation. Right now, the focus on social media with the most successful people is to create profitable businesses. And I say this later on, you really can't put likes and shares in the bank. What you put in the bank is the profit that you generate in your business. So the most successful people are starting to realize that we're using social media to grow businesses here. So that's a big shift. That's like a mindset shift that's happening. And then there's also the concept of using feeder and primary platforms. So for me, if we're talking me personally, YouTube is my primary platform. I use all of the other social platforms as feeder platforms to bring people to my YouTube channel. So including email and all of the other socials. I use those predominantly as my feeder sources to bring traffic here to YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this video right now. So then here are some changes that are happening in the number of hashtags, and I know that's why you're here. I used to recommend 9 to 15 hashtags, and that was down. I think we used to recommend 30 hashtags years ago, but that's because that's what the platforms had said. This is the maximum amount of hashtags you can use. We were like, well, let's just max it out and see what happens. Well, that's changed, and even 6 months ago, I was recommending 9 hashtags. And the hundreds of people that I currently serve and looking at thousands of data points, we saw that 9 hashtags worked very well. But now the recommendation, the maximum hashtags that I want you to use is 5. That's the max. I actually am going to recommend fewer than 5. And in some cases, I'm going to tell you, I think you should test 0 hashtags. We saw in the data that we collected, posts that had no hashtags get more reach than posts with hashtags that were similar in the content that was created. So there's a valid argument for testing 0 hashtags. And I'll tell you about that in a moment when we get to the step-by-step strategy. That's actually where we're at right now. So here's your step-by-step strategy. Here's what I want you to start doing today. Let's start by moving down to just 3 hashtags. If you have to use more than 3, then use 5. But let's move to just 3 hashtags. And what I want you to do is use hashtags that are contextually relevant to the content that you're creating. In other words, don't try to trick the system. Don't try to game the system by using hashtags that aren't relevant to what you do. I would stay away from trending hashtags that are not relevant to your content. Trending hashtags that are relevant to your content, go right ahead, knock yourself out and use those. But if there's a new Star Wars movie coming out, which maybe there is, there seems to be all the time, hashtagging Star Wars and you're writing about I don't know, whatever your content is, dog walking, that's not going to help you. Okay. Using hashtags to artificially get reach isn't going to help you. So stop doing that. And right here, the next bullet is immediately start testing 0 hashtags. And I'm going to recommend going for 2 weeks. So post for 2 weeks using no hashtags and see what happens. It's worth the experiment. Just to see what happens, and keep an eye on what the ultimate end result, which is number of inquiries that come to you for your business. I love, it's great getting likes, it's great getting shares because it's like, oh, great, cool, people like my content, but you can't put likes and shares in the bank. Okay, what we put in the bank is profit. And that might be a hard message to hear, but in my mastermind, that's what we focus on: profit, impact, and fun. Because those are the 3 things that people like me and successful people in their businesses want. We want to make more money, we want to have more impact on our market, and we want to have some fun. That's why we started our businesses. By the way, that's what this link here somewhere on the screen is for, collab.prouty.me. You can learn more about working directly with me to get those things in your business. If you feel like you're not making enough money, or you're not having the impact on your market, or you just want to have more fun, I've got a bunch of people that want to do that along with you. So just go there and check it out. I'd love to see you in there. I'd love to work with you. So start testing 0. If your goal is to entertain, then instead of focusing on hashtags, focus on being more entertaining. Take a class in how to be funny or how to dance or whatever it is you do to entertain. focus on being more entertaining. It's going to get you more reach in front of the right people. But if you're here because you have a business and you want to focus on getting clients, then we got to do the things that are going to get the clients. And as boring as this might sound, it's not this whiz bang shiny object thing. You just got to get better at teaching people about what you do. And there's real good reason for that. Lots of data that suggests people want to be educated before they make a decision to work with you. So what we're trying to do is satisfy that market. So work on getting better at educating and teaching and demonstrating authority and expertise, and that you can be trusted, and showing that you can get people results, showing them that they can get results from working with you. That's where you should focus on. That's why using 0 hashtags is going to be to your greatest advantage, because now you can relax. You don't have to worry about the hashtags. Just focus on getting better at producing better content. Help educate people. Okay, and just remember, you can't put likes and shares in the bank. So here's how you implement all of this quickly. First of all, understand you are unique and you have a unique business. And this is clearly a recorded video. I think you probably figured that out by now. And if you would like to work with a group of people who are like you, especially if you already have a business and you've started to make a few $1,000s a month and you'd like to scale to that next level, well, we'd like to work with you too. And that's why I have got this Force Acceleration Collaborative Mastermind. So all you have to do is go to collab.prouty.me, check it out, see what it's all about. It's a really short page. I'm not going to waste a whole lot of your time trying to sell you into this thing. You'll know if it's right for you or not. I think it's less than coffee per day. And if some of the people that were in there were here with me right now, they would tell you that it's the best thing that they've ever done, and that they actually organize their time so that they can be a part of this. They've got people that have been in this thing for years. And so we'd like to work with you. We're going to be opening up some spots in that soon. I think we're in a waiting list right now as I record this, although we might not be as you watch this. So head over to collab.prouty.me, and I would love to see you inside of there. So the wrap up here is test 0 hashtags, get better at your content. And that might seem like a little splash of cold water on you, but that's what I'm going to recommend that you do, and get better at showing what you do. And I think that's going to work really well for you. I'll see you in the next one.